getting back to this, chronology of events, all these different things. So I knew a thing or two about all of this. Okay, there's my friend Paul Minkoff walking it off, and also water quality. Now here's my buddy Mati Guaya. He was a part of my thinking at the time. So I'm sure Mati, us calling us the Malibu brothers, well, I've known Mati for over 20 years. I don't think there'd be a problem. We ended up doing the Blue Water Festival, as I mentioned. And then we also were a part of, and Bob Kirby was a part of the Save the Malibu event, which once again really was a surfrider effort, but this really upped the ante because now we're getting people on record. Kathleen Bowden, Dr. Randall Orton. You had the epidemiological realities. This was, he talked about, Jackie Forrest talked about the study that they did. Okay. Then we had Suzanne Good was there, Rick Morgan, and all these different speakers, including you've got Dr. Ambrose, and his stuff is very important in all of this. Here's Marcia Hanscom, and there she was as one of the speakers, and was integrally involved in what was going on back then in terms of discourse. Okay, there's Suzanne Good, and unfortunately Mark Gold came on last, but he was the gnarliest. He really came on strong. He's saying this has got to stop. Okay. But it didn't. The city council declined the opportunity to get a grant to clean up the lagoon, and then things got even worse with the Regional Water Quality Control Board. So that was about the size of it. Okay, I kind of backed out because I moved to Oxnard, I got remarried. But next thing you know, 2005, somebody's going to do something. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of where we're here. Okay, and basically this is the opening problem here. All the flow of water in these channels is constricted. Okay, it is impaired. This is a Federal Waterways 303 impaired waterway. Did I say that right? Okay. Yeah. This is like, this place is messed up. Okay, and it's messed up because these channels have created a whole different balance between what was normally the lagoon and the ocean. Okay, and as a result, all of this was artificially done, and Suzanne Good said in 1996, she said it should have been done differently, if at all. So, opening plans are one thing, but an EIR is something else. And so I'll call your attention to, once again, this binder, and anybody who wants to talk about this project better know their stuff. Okay? You got to know what this project's about. I don't know how many people in the opposition to this project have drilled down into those documents. Okay, I would hope probably most of them, because they were so strongly opposed to it. They must have found something. Okay, but first thing is, if you're going to go through that document, you better know all of this stuff. That's why we have handed them out, attached them to our handouts. Okay, and if you don't know the players without a scorecard, get your scorecard. And so the idea here is, if you're talking about an area this big, it all comes down to that little teeny place. And remember how delicate a perfect wave is. Okay, it's a pretty amazing confluence of issues at that spot. Not only that, but you're talking about all kinds of habitat that's in that area. Okay, so plans for, here, let's try and make the place work like this. Let's try and make the place work like that. Or now we're kind of getting there someplace, okay? So these are all various ideas that were in the EIR. As the EIR was moving through its process, all the permits were being acquired. This baseline information study was done in 2007, 2008, based on the idea of what the nitrogen cycle is in the lagoon. And of course, we do have a gentleman right here, Matthew Horns. If there's a guy who understands the dead zones in the lagoon, it's him, okay? And so, but this particular study actually set up monitoring stations throughout the lagoon, and they came up with, the wetlands have been so diminished, okay? And in Southern California, Malibu is the second largest wetland, but based on the data that they gathered, and you ended up with this kind of reality, where the dissolved oxygen, actually, Matt's nickname is Dr. D.O. Okay. Okay. And this particular document tells you that it's supposed to be 5 milligrams, below 5 milligrams per liter, you got problems. Well, you've got numbers here that are in any number of places significantly below, but this is the one that's really radical. This was the one thing that I pulled out of that study. A least impaired system, you got nitrogen concentration, I guess that's 20-something, that's 30-something, Malibu's 1,150. Okay, this is probably the most significant document that I can find for public presentation in all this. So, okay, there you had all these different things. Something cut off here, I think, but in any event, these are all the agencies that had to approve it. These are all the studies that were done. Okay, this is the blueprint for the final design. This is a basic draft grading plan, and this is what I think is kind of neat. A lot of people haven't seen this interpret map, just how beautiful this place would be. You know, I mean, if you actually did a 3D graphic CG-based representation of all of this and put it on Malibu Public Television, people would go, wow, that's going to look beautiful, because it is. Okay, so in any event, it goes to Coastal Commission for its final approval. Staff says approve it with 17 conditions. And so the Coastal Commission votes on this thing 11-0. Okay, after a hell of a lot of work. Not only that, but then when the opposition says, well, we want the Coastal Commission's ruling overturned, they went to court, and the judge says, okay, and he stopped this project for what, 6 months or something? From something like April to October? Yeah. Like a long time, stopped the project.
Effectively a year.
Okay, so what happened was, they gave him a year to get their act together. The opposition gets its act together, they go back into court, and he says, show me what you got. In 3 hours of testimony, they didn't have nothing. Excuse my French.
It's really interesting to read. You might think it's really boring, but it's amazing how the judge.
Every one of these items that I've understand, the court finds, the court finds, the court finds, the court finds. The court found against them on 13 separate issues. The court didn't find for them on one. Okay, and so